Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, but I think I might have to change my name to Outlaw or Zuldazar because I'm enjoying my Zandalari Paladin a lot. But honestly, I should just hold that off. I should just name myself Borealis because Skull Tyranny is going to be where it's at for me. But in this video, I want to talk a bit more about patch 8.1.5. It is here Tuesday on the NA and going to be coming Wednesday over on the EU servers. I make plenty of videos covering all the different updates with the patch 8.1.5, but in this video, I want to go over the smaller changes that simply just flew under the radar for me. This is going to be some of the convenience changes, bug updates and such for some classes, for some aspects of the game, everything that I completely missed but I personally found interesting. Recently in PvP, Blizzard has reduced the amount of mana regen that healers get. This was to really delay the dampening and not let it scale into like the very high numbers, so that healers have to really conserve their mana. There was an issue with this problem because now healers simply took off abilities that are offensive that can be used in order to help design a playstyle, like Cyclone for druids to push in aggressively or Purge for shamans. A lot of abilities that are recently with this patch are seeing a mana reduction. Things like Shackle Undead reduced by 70%, Blessing of Freedom mana cost reduced by 53%, and more. So healers should be able to use a lot more of those offensive abilities, utilitarian based abilities, in order to craft an actual fun playstyle in the meta. If you're a fan of Mythic Plus Dungeons, which I know some of you guys are but not everybody, you'll be happy to know the King's Rest time limit has been increased by 3 minutes and a better visual was added to Suppression Slam. In Shrine of the Store's Keystone limit also increased by 3 minutes, Shrine Templars now create a Risen Soul when Reaping is active, and Rip Mine cast time is increased to 3 seconds was 2 seconds, and finally a lot of the smaller mobs that originally spawned for Reaping should spawn a lot less of them, so less of the huge pile of enemies whenever you have Reaping happening. This next one is kind of funny. I don't really know if you guys will like this one, but apparently now all quest rewards from Classic through Warlords General Expansion all have a chance to upgrade to Epic quality. You know how when you're leveling in BFA or back in Legion and you would do a menial quest just as you're leveling to max level, and randomly pieces of gear would simply just become purple and it would have a higher item level and simply be more effective instead of the regular green or the blue you would have gotten. So the same thing is happening through the questing through Classic to Warlords of Draenor. So basically they added like a Titan Forge system to all the pieces of loot. First of all, I think it's going to be a bit fun and exciting when you're leveling at low level and you can get an upgrade for a piece of gear. That's going to be kind of cool to keep the experience fun. But if you're not a fan of Titan Forging, then basically Blizzard added an element of Titan Forging into a vanilla through Warlords General section. I think it's kind of funny. I don't think this is going to affect the gameplay in bad ways, but you guys let me know that in the comments below. The PvP vendors are not really widely used by a lot of players, but if you have a bunch of different honor medals laying around and nothing to spend them on, now the PvP Consumables vendor will also sell Goblin Glider kits. So if you're someone who does Battlegrounds or arenas casually and you get those currency for honor from time to time, now you can actually spend them on something useful, especially if you're Horde in a big wild city of Allure. Next, Blizzard is trying to solve the reward problems of Azeroth power. The AP grind has always been a thing ever since Legion, but in BFA, it's been exceptionally complained at, and for good reason. The best way to gain AP right now, until this patch, was to do islands. If you want to grind out AP, you have to do islands. Islands is something fun a lot of people can maybe do casually, maybe get the 4 of those a week, but it's not something people really do on the regular. What a lot of people have been asking for is to be able to get more AP through traditional methods, so Blizzard is doing such thing. Bosses in Battle for Allure and Crucible stores will reward a lot more AP, Emissary Quest will reward a lot more AP, Artifact Power and Mythic Keystones will be rewarded for a lot more AP, so it looks like Blizzard is trying to give a little bit more AP through regular means without having to force everybody to grind. Still, if you still want a little bit extra AP, you can do World Quests. That's something I've been doing a lot recently, and it's a lot better than doing islands if you do decide that a character does need a little bit of an upgrade on their necklace. Or you can simply wait until patch 8.2, where Blizzard wants to eliminate the whole grind and change up the systems without the massive need for AP just for your gear. If you're a fan of casual PvP, especially in Battlegrounds, Blizzard stated that they made a lot more visual improvements to a lot of the Battlegrounds objectives. For example, if you have any of the flag areas, that should show up a little bit easier or with a name. If you are trying to track anybody with a flag running from A to B, you should be able to see them easier. Assassins and flag carrier badges should now appear in World PvP as well, so there should be a lot easier ways to see exactly what's going on in the BG if you open up your map. Now, there's a lot of bugs that have been fixed for a lot of classes, and you can go and read the whole section on bugs, because of course Battle for Beta is what a lot of people call this expansion, will have a lot of bugs, and Blizzard is fixing them in this patch. Good that they're coming to it, that we'll see a lot less of these. I do wonder what other bugs we'll see as the patches go on, because it seems that every time they fix something, something else breaks. It's just how well the work-off works. But the best bug fix that have happened, and this by far, in my opinion, is the greatest bug fix. They finally fixed the bug. Not the only one though, there's more to go. Fixed the bug causing rogues to sometimes remain visible and targetable immediately after casting Vanish. I miss the old school Vanish of back in the day, Mr. Pandaria, where you would vanish and that's it. As soon as I press Vanish, I'm invisible, no one can see me, but there's usually a moment where you can still see somebody and track him after like a second or two after the press Vanish, which was the weirdest thing ever. We all thought it was normal. That's not the only bug. They still haven't fixed the bug where rogues randomly get taken out of stealth for no reason, but I'm glad that this one is a bug. It's so crazy to think that that was a bug that simply wasn't fixed, rather than an intended mechanic, which is what a lot of us thought it was supposed to be. If you're trying out a different class at different level intervals, it's usually hard to find a trained dummy for your level. So now a lot of the non-boss enemies that are training dummies will now scale to your level. So if you want to test out your character, test out your rotation, see how well you're doing, there will actually be a lot more trained dummies for you to hit. Be sure to check out some of the popular spots that you can go to, either in Armory by the Hunter trainers, or which is my favorite, or go to Stormwind with the regular train dummy areas. There's a couple of train dummies in the back that let you test out single target as well as AoE. Lastly, this isn't a bug, but now Magnet will offer you a quest line to get you a little bit extra few item levels on your necklace. You should be able to get this quest whether you go to Borealis or Dalaran lore, get a quest from Magni and do it on your mains, and maybe slowly over time you may also do this on your ults. The extra item level on your neck will give you those secondary stats you need, so things like haste will get you to play your class a little bit faster, mastery for more damage, versatility for a bit of tankiness, critical strike. All those things are not really major, but you should at least do them on your main. I did the quest line, it's fairly quick, but I can't really see myself doing in a single go every one of my ults, and hopefully they'll find a faster way around this type of system. They also fixed the bug when sometimes swapping Azeroth gear around would prevent certain Azeroth bonuses to even trigger. So let's say you have multiple sets of one class and you're swapping with gear back and forth. Apparently every time you swap, sometimes a trait would just not function, so you have to take the piece off and on. So if you ever done some dungeons or some raids and you felt like certain abilities or certain playstyles of your class simply weren't functional, then you're not crazy. It actually was a massive bug in the game. And finally, we have a hunter trap change. This one took me a while to get used to, because of the fact that I changed my hunter to Zandalari. So every time I'm looking at my hunter, I'm more likely looking at the actual model, the animations, and taking time to appreciate the way that the character is put together as a Zanda. But the tar trap for all specs of hunters now has a different animation of where the oil kind of spills and shoots outwards, and then the way that it kind of falls on the ground looks a little more realistic, rather than an amorphous blob just kind of hovering there over the ground. Now it actually looks like oil splattered on the ground in a very artistic way. Huge fan of stuff like that. Hopefully they'll add more stuff like that in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts on all the small changes that I have missed, and if there's any changes, any updates that I might have missed that didn't make it into this video, let me know that in the comments below. Thank you guys again. I'll see all of you in another video.